So I consider myself a common person. I come from a common place and from common people. And when you're talking about age and dynamics of a generation and a culture, basically, I think back on my life and I think about all of the times that you were part of the soundtrack to my life. How do you reconcile that with like being just a regular person, thinking that what you've done and what you've created has been such an integral part of so many people's lives and their memories and their feelings around those memories? I mean, my husband and I got married to one of your songs, so it's a big deal to a lot of people who you are and art that you create.
Yeah, no, I thank you. I appreciate that. I think the best way to explain it is the true value of what you just brought up is really beautiful and is sort of timeless. The problem is you get sucked into the other values, which have to do with magazine covers or reviews, you know what I'm saying? So if you can kind of stay focused on the real part of it, then it feels really cool, and you are able to operate in it with a little bit more humility and also acceptance, because like I was saying before, it's like one good deed is plenty. 10,000 is amazing or something, you don't get so tripped up by the numbers or the lack of numbers. And that's a really hard lesson to learn. But look, I have this experience weekly where people walk up to me and say, I used to listen to you, or you changed my life, ... I don't listen to you anymore. You know what I mean? And so it's this weird, like, it's like they're talking about somebody else.
It's so fickle, right?
No, I think the fickle is fine, the fickle doesn't bother me. I think what it is it's like, and I've said this a few times, it's like you're managing a ghost. See, what you said to me and the way you said it, that makes me think, cool, like that's why I did it, and I'm glad you're here, and we can sort of celebrate this moment however you want to do it and however we want to do it. Like, we'll find somewhere in the middle because there's a level of trust there. The other thing is, to me, it's like somebody saying, well, somewhere along the way that trust or that faith or that curiosity got broken. And the natural human emotion behind that is to wonder, well, what was it? And oftentimes it's just generational. People just move on to other stuff, or they get into EDM or whatever. It's not personal. But it's hard not to make it personal because what we do is so personal. Right. There is no way to really do what we do at the highest level and not be personal. There is no way to do it. And what's nice now is there seems to be enough time where all those waves are sort of canceling each other out. So it's like the high and the low is all, it just kind of just flows. It's okay. Where there were times where it felt like this just valley that we were just never going to get out of. And even today I was thinking, there's moments in your life, it's just natural, you think like, well, was it worth continuing? Like, was it worth restarting the band in 2005 or 6? Was it worth continuing after Jimmy left in 2009? Was it worth continuing after Mike and Nicole left in 20? You know what I'm saying? And the way I feel right now, it was worth it. But if you'd asked me like 2 years ago, I'd say, fucking no, get me off this island. This is the worst. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's hard sometimes to see the bigger picture. And so when I talk to somebody like you, I can see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? Because it is a longer movie. But when you're in it, it's so strange, because literally every day it's like boom, 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 and there's no way to reconcile all that information. Sometimes you'll muse on like a statistic, like how many times have Smashing Pumpkins songs been played? Or my music been played? Trillions. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's the meaning of that? When the person walks up the airport and goes, I used to listen to you. What is more important? I mean, it's obvious, right? I mean, the answer is obvious. The overall. But in the moment, you're like, what the fuck you want from me? You know what I mean? And this woman came up to me and said that. I joked with her, and And then she wanted to take a picture. and I said, that's fine, but I don't want to take a selfie. And she had a baby in her arms, and she couldn't reconcile how to take a picture with me. And I said, just ask somebody to take a picture. And then she wanted me to hold her child. And then she was like, she was looking at the camera and looking at the baby, and then she just was like, well, never mind, and walked away. She couldn't negotiate the moment, you know what I mean? No, what I'm saying, I guess the point of all this is it's very hard to navigate the impersonal part of something that's very personal.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's so much of the business end of it that's so impersonal, and like when you get to actually talk to people that can bring you back to, you know, kind of where you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I when you wrote a song on your knees in the living room at 3 in the morning and no one was there to tell you it was good or bad, and then 27 years later there you are standing and people are, you know, that's a really weird journey. Like I could tell you 500 of those journeys, you know. But you know, it's like, let's say, there's no crying in baseball or something, you know, and it's just like, you just move on. Okay, one more question. Yes.
You know, I never thought that I really needed to recast non-calling and sadness, and I'm so glad that you did, and you took us on this journey. It's been awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Very much. How has this tour been for you? How are you? Are you tired? How are you doing in general?
I'm fine, yeah. I realized yesterday was my first off day, I think in 24 days or something. So it's a lot of days in a row of, because I work for a professional wrestling company, so there was work in there, so I have a second job. So it was like rehearse, tour. So, but I feel good. I feel really grateful right now. I'm really just excited we're back to playing music. The music is the higher order, you know, because for years it was the set list was the biggest thing, or it was my attitude was the biggest thing, or, you know, I didn't talk enough, or I talked too much, or, you know, there's always this poking and picking, and see, that seems to all just kind of, it seems to all finally just, I don't know, maybe it was just 10 years of just refusing to give in or something. I just finally, maybe the audience gave a little inch or something. I will say, and this is self-serving, but I will say that when I look at, I can't speak for the subsequent generations, because particularly with millennials, I don't understand their values. I just don't. And I know millennials are getting beaten up all the time, and every time I open my mouth about millennials, they get mad. Because they feel maligned. And I was thinking back the other day, Gen X got picked on a lot too, so they probably feel like we did at that time, like, leave us alone. But that said, at least I can speak to the Gen X value, which obviously some of you here are from that time. I'm just really proud that we've stuck to our guns. And I think, you know, this is a bit blithe way to put it, but when you look at business models in music, I think we're closer to the Grateful Dead or the Who than we are a lot of other bands of our generation, and I'm proud of that. Because I think if we get to 40 years, because we're basically at 29, I think now, from the beginning, I think that journey will make more sense. And this is maybe part of that, making more sense. There's a reason we wrote songs like, you know, Rocket and Whir and, you know, Saturnliners. You know, there's a reason. And now it makes sense even to me. So it feels really good, because sometimes you really wonder, why did I beat my head against the wall for nothing? No, I know that, but I'm saying is, it's to go back to the lady's question. You know, it doesn't. You can't. You know, there's what's that saying? You can't put your arms around a memory. You know, I mean, I can sit and look through. I mean, I can Google myself and see me. You know, we could call me on stage with David Bowie right now, and I go, fuck, man, look at that. Wow, that's my hero. You know what I mean? I got a zillion of those. But I'm telling you, when it's weird and then you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know what to do, and it's a blank piece of paper, that it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't. It's always, you know, it's a Zen thing, right? You know, it's always next step of the journey. So you can comfort yourself with, oh wow, I've walked 8,000 steps, but if the mountain's still, you know, 72 miles away, you got a ways to go. That's how I feel. So at least to really answer your question, I'm very comfortable. Like, I'm cool with where that went, and I'm cool with where I'm going. And if I get there, great. And if I don't, I'm okay with that too. Thank you very much.
Yeah. adjourned.